All week long you've waited, and now it's time for Kickoff. Fighting Chance Kickoff. Starts and sits, injuries, weather, and the latest news. No hot takes, no BS, just the information you need to crush your competition. It's Fighting Chance Kickoff with Kevin Tompkins and Gary Haddow.
Good morning, everybody. It is Fighting Chance Kickoff. It's going to be a windy one out there, so good morning. Get your coffee, get your OJ, get your Dunkin' Donuts. We're not sponsored by them, but Gary had to treat yourself this morning.
Treat yourself.
That's right. My friend, how are you? All donated up here this morning.
I'm good. I stupidly barely ate any dinner or lunch yesterday for whatever reasons, and then had Dunkin' Donuts this morning. So I'm going to be on this crazy sugar high probably for until we'll go with 11:01 a.m. our time, and then I'm going to crash.
That's awesome. All right, let's get right into it because there's going to be a lot of impact today from that aforementioned wind. There's going to be like 3 or 4 games impacted by this, and the two that I'm looking at that are likely to be most impacted: Houston, Cleveland. It's going to be a re-windification, if you will. That's not a word. It's too early for this. From week 8 when Las Vegas visited them in Cleveland, and we know how that went. That was bad for the passing games, bad for the quarterbacks. 16-6, 16-6. Short passing, if you can. So that game, and Jacksonville at Green Bay will be affected. A lot in that game. So Davante Adams, I'm taking him down in my ranks as soon as we hop off of here. Chark as well. Anything else you want to add into there, Gary, as far as at least those 2 games and maybe some other that are impacted?
Yeah, it does actually look like Philly is going to potentially have some rain with some wind. Cincinnati at Pittsburgh is probably going to have some rain with some wind. Maybe even a little bit tonight with Baltimore at New England. But you can clearly see that there's stuff all over the place. The biggest thing, just for anybody that's maybe newer to football, this bumps up the run game, slightly downgrades the passing game. I think I would downgrade Cooks, but I feel like Fuller is a little bit more safe, but I'm still going to push him down. I actually kind of like Austin Hooper a little bit more in Cleveland if they're going to focus on the run game and maybe have him just be the sole pass catcher that they're going for. I don't even know what the hell to do with Green Bay, after Chark's explosive game and whatnot. So there are spots there. Everybody has their different spaces they go to for weather. I really like, Tommy Garrett was on our show a couple weeks back, and he is with Pro Football Network, and he does a fantastic weather breakdown that just released just here a few hours ago. So I just retweeted that. Check it out. He does a good job of diving into all that if you want more specifics.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. Great reference there. There's a lot of decent sites out there as far as getting some weather. I mean, even just check, weather.com. You can just get what you can expect out of the radar and do what you got to do as far as getting stuff, or just we'll be talking about it every week games that are impacted. Just we're not meteorologists, but certainly we know it's going to impact fantasy games this weekend. Excuse me. So let's get into some injuries too, because we do have quite a bit of those. It's going to be a weird week just because there's more late games than early games, and I can't remember the last time I've seen that. But on the early slate, Devontae Freeman was placed on IR, so we can expect more Wayne Gallman this week, certainly. And then maybe a sprinkle of Alfred Morris for that Giants game there, hosting Philly. Jacksonville at Green Bay, Gardner Minshew still out with that hand injury, and then Laviska Shenault was added to the injury list and will not play this week with a hamstring. So really is DJ Chark and Chris Conley, but like we said with that wind, not sure really what we can expect out of the passing game today with those 50-mile-an-hour gusts. So also Keelan Cole could be in play, but
Tyler Eifert.
And Tyler Eifert. Yep, that's probably another guy that's Going to see a lot of shorter passes, but what can you really expect out of a backup quarterback in wind against the Green Bay defense? That's going to be very, very tough for Jacksonville today.
I completely agree. And I mean, to me, it also just probably gives a little bit of that bump to the Packers defense. I feel like it might be a little bit of a trap play, at least in DFS, but on the flip side, it could also be that explosive play that stars align for turnovers and, all sorts of stuff.
Yep. And if you're going to, I would look to these windy games too. If I'm going to play a defense and running back correlation in DFS. So, Aaron Jones and the Packers defense, that might be a big play today, knowing how much, Green Bay is going to lean on that run. And then the defense, they won't be with Jair Alexander with a concussion, but, they still have enough pieces with a backup quarterback there to definitely make some noise at home.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's also look to, Alex Smith is going to make the start here for Kyle Allen, who went on IR with an ankle injury. So, that's going to be something to watch for the prospective NFL Comeback Player of the Year. Getting that start, it's going to certainly affect the passing game a little bit, but I don't see a lot of drop-off there. We know Terry McLaurin is just matchup independent, quarterback independent, so I'm not super worried about that. And then on the other side with Detroit, Kenny Galladay is out again with a hip injury. So look to your Marvin Jones. T.J. Hawkinson is questionable, but is trending up and should play per Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport. Right. So we'll get official word on that in about half an hour to 40 minutes. And then the big one from the early slate is Christian McCaffrey, who made his triumphant return last week, back out today with a shoulder injury. So if you have your Mike Davises, get him back in your lineup. Go get him if for some reason he's still out there.
From my computer, like where I face it's like the office kind of in the front of my house, and my wife, my 3-year-old, and my tiny little dog just went running down the street as my son just took off to go run down and presumably around the corner, what we hate for him to do. So if you see me looking around, that's why he does this from time to time. I mean, I'm a little bit nervous about Mike Davis just because Tampa Bay is probably going to be on a tear after getting their asses handed to them. But it's also Mike Davis. Like, he seems to, for the most part, be matchup proof solely because he'll get dump off catches. He'll get something. He'll get red zone touches. So, I don't know. And my God, he's 4,000 on DK on DraftKings. I imagine he's going to be in like 80% of lineups. Not that I have any idea what the percentages actually are.
Yeah, he will be high owned, especially, with that price tag. So, that's something definitely to consider. But, the ownership certainly might take you off of that, especially if you're in those bigger tournaments. Let's answer, actually, Fred Stone Flint. Good morning, my friend. Glad you could join us. Dev Carosi with a question. Robbie Anderson or Christian Kirk in PPR?
I'm going to go with Christian Kirk. Go with the shootout. Go up against a softer defense. I'm pretty sure they're playing in Arizona. So at home, I mean, Kirk, NBA Jam rules are fully in effect, and he is officially on fire. So stay in the flames.
Yeah, that's the highest projected point total of the week. I mean, that's a slam dunk for me. And Kirk's been very involved the last few weeks. Starting with that Dallas game, he started just to ramp up his production and his usage. So definitely go with Christian Kirk there over Robbie Anderson, who has to split the passing game production 3-4 ways with Mike Davis and Samuel now ascending and DJ Moore. We don't know what we can get out of him week to week, but that's a 4-headed monster right now in Carolina. So, I'll go with Kirk. And then Fred Stone came back in just now, breaking PPR, Chase Claypool or DJ Chark. Given the weather, I'm leaning toward Claypool here.
Yeah, I'm only playing Chark when I have to, or in DFS just as a contrarian play because a lot of people will be off of him. But in season long, I can't trust it. It's too nerve-wracking. And it's not as if Claypool's a bad play, right? Softer defense with Cincinnati, and he's always, they manufacture touches for Claypool, so I like him.
Exactly, and he'll find his way into some usage there. I will say too with that Cincinnati Pittsburgh game, it might rain a little bit, but there's going to be some winds. It's not going to be 50-mile-an-hour gusts, but that is something to also take into account there. And then also Philly and the Giants. It's likely to rain there too. No real wind concerns, but factor, but not downgrading those guys too much. And then in that the Sunday night game, Baltimore at New England, chance of rain there with some lighter winds, but something that could affect the passing game, but shouldn't too much.
Yeah, completely.
All right, and then we have one more question here: James Conner or Allen Robinson, flex spot PPR.
A really good question. It's a difficult one. I'm gonna lean Connor just because I feel like he's safer, but like right now, what wide receiver is not? I mean, Allen Robinson's got to be one of the safest wide receivers for a target floor going up against Minnesota, who has a softer defense, but they've been playing a little bit better lately. But I'm still gonna go with Connor.
Yeah, that's tough. That's a really, really even one. I would probably, just based on what I've seen from Connor and how he was in smash spots and just did not produce. He had just that gift wrapped game against Dallas, which game script kind of skewed that out of his favor. But I would probably go with Allen Robinson here, and it's just for the floor in the PPR, because you pretty much know what you're going to get out of Allen Robinson. Nick Foles is gonna hone in on Allen Robinson. Get those deep shots to Mooney, get those red zone shots to Jimmy Graham, but Allen Robinson is going to be getting those first downs, getting those 15, 20-yard passes. I like Allen Robinson here over Connor. I think Pittsburgh's going to pass a little bit more today, even though there is some wins, but I would lean to Robinson here.
Yeah.
We're getting those questions in fast and furious here. Yeah, if you have some more, send them on over at KTompkinsII, at Gary Haddow 1. We will answer them here live on the air. Aaron Martinez, half point PPR need one. Antonio Brown, Brandon Ayuk, DJ Moore, Jalen Reagor.
It's a solid bench you have if you're just picking one. I'm going to go with Antonio Brown here. I actually like all of them in this order: Antonio Brown, Ayuk, DJ Moore, Jalen Reagor. I actually like all four of them. But AB, I don't know. I don't know how much of it's narrative, because there is some of the stats to back it up. But I just think that Tom Brady is going to probably focus on him. He was getting good separation, and I think that's just something like there's a reason that Tom pushed Bruce Arians to say, hey, let's bring back Antonio Brown, because I'm pretty sure that Arians did not want to, and Tom was like, no, we need this.
Yeah, I would go with Antonio Brown as well. Ayuk is not far, but we'll see. Likely Marshawn Lattimore. I do like Reagor over DJ Moore, though. I think Reagor, with everybody getting healthy in Philly, Alshon Jeffrey is back as well. So I don't think Alshon Jeffrey's going to be too involved back in week 1, but I do think Jalen Reagor alongside of Fulgham is going to, just let everybody know, hey, I'm still alive. I think this is going to be one of those games where Reagor gets maybe a deep shot for a touchdown against the Giants. And they're certainly capable of doing that. The Giants, Fulgham's going to have Bradbury on him too. So
he did well he did 5 for 87 against Bradbury last time.
Yeah, exactly. And so he doesn't have to worry about, any kind of bracketing or anything like that. Yeah. So, with those weapons back, it's gonna be full steam ahead for the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm bigger on them this week than a lot of people. So fire up your Wentzes, fire up your Fulghams, your Raegers. I will say I'm not as high as on Goddard, just because I don't think that he gives up a lot of that blocking work that they love out of him. So I don't know if he's going to be running as many routes as people think he will be running. We all look at that. If Zach Ertz weren't there, Goddard is a top 6 tight end. While I think that is true, I think he's would be a top 6 in season long if he played the full season without Ertz. It's just because right now they don't have another option. I don't know if they really want to rely on Richard Rodgers to be running all those routes. I think he's going to split between blocking and
top 12. Over under top 12. We'll do one of our $5 charity bets this week for Goddard.
Goddard?
Yeah.
I think he just sneaks into the top 12.
Over under 10.
Just
you can take the over. I'll take the under. 10 as a push.
Under.
So you do like Goddard.
No, or under. Oh, sorry. Well, okay, over then.
So
over,
okay, yeah. So
yeah, I confused it.
No, that was me. So okay, $5 bet. We're gonna do this. I'm adding it to our list.
All right, there we go. Boom. Thank you, Aaron, for checking us out. Appreciate it, my friend. Fred Stone Flint, PPR, Tremaine Pope, or Philip Lindsay?
Philip Lindsay. I mean, we have no idea if Tremaine Pope's going to even get touches. Like, it could be Kelly, it could be Balaj, it could be the combo, it could be all three. It could just be Pope on his own. I'm happy being wrong on this one. I know Lindsay's going to get touches.
Yeah, I'm kind of steering clear of this backfield. You don't know, like Gary said, you don't know you're going to get out of it. So at least Philip Lindsay's trending up as far as, those touches. He's done a lot better with the touches that he's gotten than Melvin Gordon has. So I think he'll be trending upwards in this offense and getting more of a slice of that pie. I would say maybe in a couple weeks it could be getting over, 50 to 60% of that. It's tough. I understand that. Tremaine Pope, he looked great 2 weeks ago and then he was out. So I got to go with Lindsay here, though. I think it's much safer play. Our good friend Axel Jansen joins us every week. We appreciate it, my friend. Cooper Kupp or Allen Robinson for wide receiver 3 in standard?
Axel, if you're still in here, respond in the chat to this question, and that's: are you needing a high-end play, or are you just needing a really high floor? Because Cooper Kupp, I mean, has the chance to go like 9 for 120 and 2 touchdowns. Allen Robinson, I think you're going to just be looking at a really solid floor, and maybe he gets a touchdown, the 5 for 75 or 9 for 75 type thing. So Kupp is really, if you think that you're in a bind, I'm going to go with Kupp because I really, really like him this week. But if for some reason you just know that you need points because you're already looking like to be the favorite, I'm actually going to go with Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I do like Kupp here to kind of go nuclear. This is that perfect scenario where they are going up against Seattle, who couldn't stop you or me on the outside. Well, maybe they could, but they could stop.
I'm really tall, so
I'm
6'5", so at least I could get above their DBs.
I'm a slot guy, so I mean, basically I'm Richard Rodgers out there. Anyway, yeah, I think this is going to be a smash week for the Rams wide receivers. I think this game is going to, this is going to be a Kupp, Woods, Josh Reynolds game. I think Josh Reynolds is a great play in DFS today for anybody that wants to get off of the ownership on Kupp and Woods. So, yeah, I would go with Kupp here, but Allen Robinson is a great floor play. So, Axel Jansen needs some points. So, that changes anything for you? Are you gonna go with Robinson for a floor, or just say?
No, I'm still gonna go with Kupp. Okay. I think he's saying he needs points. Like, he is coming from behind. So yeah, go with Kupp. We
all need points. Let's be fair.
That's true. Hugs and points. We all need hugs and points.
That's we do. Fred Stone Flint again need 2 PPR. Leonard Fournette, Duke Johnson, Zach Moss, J.K. Dobbins.
This is a tough one, man. I think I'm doing something different than I thought I would say, and I'm going to go with Fournette and Moss. I've kind of talked myself more into Fournette in the last 24 hours. Find I have him in a lot of DFS lineups. I'm nervous about Duke. I don't know. I'm just nervous that offense isn't going to be able to move as much as we think, and that he won't get as many dump offs as we think. And then Dobbins is just too much of a question mark when I know that Fournette's at minimum a 50-50 split and that Moss is the 60 of the 60-40.
That's interesting. I do like Zach Moss. I think he finds a touchdown today. I think he finds about 50 total yards also. I think he's going to get you a double-digit week in PPR. Leonard, God, that backfield in Tampa, There, I
Right?
mean, oh man, I mean,
It could
it's
so be a Rojo week if the Panthers just
yeah,
if the Panthers pull up Tampa Buccaneers and just
yeah. If that
go
game
into
script gets out of hand, that
yeah,
could be a road. That could be a Rojo. Until he fumbles, and then it's whoever.
totally.
But I'd go with Duke here. I think he still has upside here. Even in that, Houston's going to be running the ball a little bit more. Duke Johnson doesn't need those long. I mean, he doesn't get long passes, so I think that they can complete some. I think he can find his. He's got a 10-point floor easily in this game. I think he
Yeah,
can
that's
get
true.
it. Yeah, so I think Duke's a good floor play this week, even if he gets 5 catches for 14 yards and then still gets 40 on the ground. Because you got to figure Houston's going to be running the ball quite a bit with the wind. So I'm going to go with Duke and Zach Moss here.
They're good options. I like them all. I mean, Dobbins is my least favorite, but it's not as if I don't like him. He's just my least favorite of those 4.
Right. And then you got, also who is going to be taking touches from Duke Johnson? Buddy Howell? I mean, that's
DJ Pro Size.
Oh, what year is this?
We brought him up, I think, from the practice squad. All right, we'll move on.
We will move on. Axel Jansen again. Kalen Balaj. What year is this? Joshua Kelly or J.D. McKissick. This is an easy one for me. It's J.D. McKissick all day long.
It is standard, but I still prefer J.D. McKissick.
I think he's even got yardage, a good yardage floor today.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gonna be like your James White, where he's gonna get probably 5 carries for 20 yards, but he's also probably gonna get you 60 to 70 receiving as well. So I think he's got a good floor there, decent shot at a touchdown. It is standard, but I think he has a much higher floor than Kalen Balaj Kelly. Like I said, I'm staying away from that Chargers backfield. You don't know what you're gonna get. You don't know how the target or the touch is gonna be distributed.
Yep. Agreed.
All right. Fantasy Burner 12, PPR with point per first down. Chase Edmonds, Gio, or Adam Thielen starting Dalvin Cook.
Gosh, I feel like we're going to be debating between Edmonds and Gio. I'm worried about Thielen. If you're already playing Dalvin, you have the chance that they just, I don't know, that's a lot of risk for me. Everybody really likes Edmonds. I'm nervous about him. I actually like Gio because I think it's guaranteed touches, even though it is the vaunted Steelers defense. Gio is pretty guaranteed touches. And do we know that Edmonds will get that? If Drake doesn't play, then hell yeah, it's Edmonds. But if Drake plays, then I'm going Gio.
Yeah, I agree. If Edmonds is the only one getting that work there outside of like DJ Foster, Drake is inactive. It's Edmonds full steam. Gio, it's a tough matchup against Pittsburgh. Though we have seen teams run on them too. We've seen Baltimore do it, but Thielen, Chicago has the ability to just erase an offense. That's pretty much, with Kyle Fuller and rookie Jalen Johnson probably switching off between him and Thielen and Jefferson. You're already starting Dalvin. I wouldn't take the risk there of playing 2 Vikings pieces there against a tough defense. If anybody's gonna overshoot against the defense like that, it's gonna be Dalvin and likely not the passing game. So I wouldn't start Thielen. In this matchup, I would go with Edmonds point per first down. I think you're pretty safe there as far as Edmonds getting not only the rushing work if Drake were to be inactive, but he's going to get the receiving work as well.
I just aside was so low. We were all too low on Kyler. I think Kyler is one of the most impressive players. I think that Kyler should be the MVP as of right now. I think that he's getting that team into the playoffs, and it's going to be something that nobody saw come, and not saw coming, but it's still a surprise, and he's so freaking awesome to watch play.
Right now, it's just a mix of old and new, because as far as that MVP race, you'd have to say it's the top 3 in no particular order: Kyler Murray, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, totally.
I mean, you can throw Russell Wilson in there too, but I think those three have the best cases right now. And you're talking about Rodgers, who, he's not running as much, but still does. Patrick Mahomes is kind of he's a fantastic passer
Just
and runs when he
Mahomes.
has to. And then Kyler Murray has been better than Lamar Jackson was last year.
Yeah, if he does 4,000 and 1,000, he'll be the MVP. I don't know if anybody saw that. He's on track right now to potentially be the first quarterback ever to throw for 4,000 and rush for 1,000.
Yeah, that's I mean, we knew Murray had it in him. It's just whether, the whole narrative of, DeAndre Hopkins is coming over, and that's something to be said about that. But he was consensus quarterback 6, so we pretty much that was baked into it. But also Dak Prescott's injury.
Yeah, Dak's injured. Yeah, that's true. So he should be 5. So fair enough. I will concede that I'm a little overly hyped by him, but
he's going to be quarterback. He's going to be no lower than quarterback 3 next year.
Yeah, totally.
All right. Duke, Gio, or Mike Davis, I would guess. Half PPR, leaning Duke and Davis. Davis for sure. I mean, we saw, when he came in, that was that game where he came in, and I think the last few series he just racked up catches. That was when McCaffrey got hurt. It was in the first Tampa game, I believe.
Yeah. He did. He had I think 8 or 9 catches that game.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to say something a little bit different than usual in that you're already leaning Duke. I don't think there's any reason for you to pivot to Gio because at face value, they are the same situation, same player, high, good offenses, all that stuff. So go with your gut and just don't tweak this one.
Yeah, go with your gut. If you already got Duke and Davis in there, I think that's, all three are going to get work today. I think Duke and Davis have your highest upside as far as getting what you're looking to get out of them.
I love that question from Fredstone.
We'll get there.
What did we say? We said Moss and Duke, but Leo, if you're so inclined. I think that's what we said. That's what Kevin said. So,
yep, absolutely. Axel Jansen, Tyler Higbee, Richard Rodgers, or Jordan Akins for tight end 2 in PPR.
To me, there's only one answer here, and that's Higbee. The weather for Akins plus Fells is there. And versus Higbee in what should be the second or top shootout of the week. And Higbee has been a disappointment, but no more or less of a disappointment than Rodgers and Akins. So if they're all going to be equal, I'm going to go with the shootout without the weather.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Fantasy Alarms, Andrew Cooper, we're in a group chat, and he's basically called him the last few weeks. He's basically a tackle. That's what Tyler Higbee is right now because he's blocking so much. Rodgers, there's a little bit of upside, but I'm not going to go ahead and play him over Higbee. He's essentially splitting with Everett right now. Everett I really like today, and I have him over Higbee. I have Higbee way down.
Agreed.
There, but I have him over Rodgers and Akins. So that's tough too because with Houston, since Akins has come back, him and Fells have pretty much split everything 50-50. So you can't really trust one of those guys.
Totally.
Yep. And then we will go to one more question right now, and then we will get back into the injury stuff because we have a few more here. We definitely appreciate your questions, so thank you all for those. Axel Jansen again, Tyler Boyd, Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen for wide receiver 2 in PPR.
I mean, you can't get away from Allen Robinson.
Yeah, but Tyler Boyd's been fantastic this year. But it is a tough matchup against Pittsburgh. So,
versus a not tough matchup against the Vikings.
Yeah, I heard that. You know how bad I want to go with Tyler Boyd here, but God, Allen Robinson.
I really like Tyler Boyd. Not at all. I think he's fantastic, but
yeah, Thielen's a non-starter for me, unless you have to.
Yeah,
Still, don't feel good about it. Let's while we have a little bit of a break in the action here. So the late games, we have Justin Jackson with a knee injury for the Chargers will be out. So we've talked about it at length here about Troymaine Pope and Kalen Ballage and Joshua Kelly. That's a 3-headed monster that I want no part of today.
Yeah.
yeah. So don't know who's going to be getting what percentage of the work, and I don't care to find out, and I'm happy to be wrong. So I would stay away from them unless you have to play one. I mean, they're going to get touches, but like we said, we don't know to what degree. It could be just, Anthony Lynn pulls one out of a hat and, hey, this guy ran for 6 yards. I'm going to run him the rest of the game. And we see week 2 of the Kalen Ballage and post Adam Gase narrative. Yeah. So for Miami, on the other side, Preston Williams is placed on IR with a foot injury. So right now, that passing game looks like Devontae Parker and a bunch of gadget pieces right now.
Yep. I'm really confused. I wanted to ask you, who is their wide receiver too? Is it Hakeem Grant?
It's right now on the outside. I think it's Mac Hollins. So, and then other than that, they just have a bunch of those Malcolm Perry, Lynn Bowden, Jakeem Grant. But I would take Jakeem Grant over any of those guys, certainly. I mean, I think he has the highest floor, but that floor is 0 every week. So that's what makes it tough. So, yeah, I think just because of, I think Mac Hollins, former Eagle, he had a touchdown last week, but I think he only had 1 or 2 targets. So, right now it's Devontae Parker, and that's going to be tough for Tua. But if he can weather that storm, Tua can do anything.
Totally.
I would say that Miami's going to be definitely looking for a wide receiver next in the 2021 draft.
Yes.
So we've talked about Gio being in, and so with that means Joe Mixon is out with a foot injury. So Gio is a very volume dependent play today. I'm not expecting a lot out of Gio against Pittsburgh, but if you have to play somebody and you want to just get opportunity for some decent, I don't even know what you call it. Like,
it's just volume play. I mean, you're right. And I think that even when they get into the red zone, they use him in dump off. So just to say that the Steelers defense is that good, I mean, we've seen the ball be moved on them, but they are a really good defense. It's more of I'm nervous about Burrow than I am about Gio personally. And they don't run Gio up the middle 30 times. He's not Derrick Henry. They're very well aware of that. So I like the fact that he is very well integrated into their system. And that's why I trust Gio over Duke. Just referring to a question earlier.
I hear you. And then also, Chris Carson and Carlos Hyde were designated out late yesterday. So more of the DJ Dallas experience and some Travis Homer thrown in there. Alex Collins was activated as well. So DJ Dallas, he's a low wide running back 2, probably more of a running back 3, honestly. Not expecting a lot out of him. I think Seattle's going to be passing quite a bit, especially going into that Rams front. I don't think that's anything they're going to be really trying DJ Dallas a lot. I could only maybe see 10 to 12 carries out of DJ Dallas today.
And they're missing their center, who's going to be their backup center is going to be lined up against Aaron Donald. That's going to be wild to watch Donald versus Wilson on what will be a 2.2 second, pretty much get the ball out of your hands, if not faster.
Yeah, good luck to that. That's going to be that's a dicey proposition there. And then San Francisco with Tevin Coleman with a knee injury, Debo Samuel with a hamstring, not Debo hamstring with a Samuel. So yeah, Amy, either way. I mean, so yeah, we know Brandon Ayuk's going to be out there with Kendrick Bourne back off the COVID list, and
Richie James.
Yeah, big game Richie James. We'll see what happens with that, but not, holding my breath over anybody outside of Ayuk, maybe Bourne in a very deeper scenario there. And then San Francisco with the running game, more of the same with Jerick McKinnon and maybe a dash of Jermichael Hasty, but we don't know week to week. That's what makes it tough. But Hasty didn't take advantage of the opportunity that he had. So, we'll let the resident 49ers fan dissect that one.
Just don't sleep on Jordan Reed. I think that game coming back off of a few weeks, but when we saw him in his primary role when Kittle first got injured earlier in the season, through, I think, like 18 minutes of play, maybe less than that, he was like 7 for 42. Or maybe it was 5 for 42 on 7 targets. Nick Mullins loves Jordan Reed. So if you're in a spot and you're in a pinch with a tight end, I have no problem putting Reed in. I actually like him also as a relatively cheaper DFS tight end, just because I think that he will get the targets. I also think the Saints defense, in my opinion, should be the number 2 defense on the week. I just think that they're going to destroy. I don't understand why they're so low on DFS or just in people's heads. Like, it should go Steelers and then Saints, in my opinion.
I've got the Saints as my number 1 defense of the week.
Well, look at you. That's because you're smart.
Oh boy, it's not just a hat rack.
Yeah, it's a beanie rack.
I know, right? It's a beanie rack. And then Irv Smith for the Vikings will be out on Monday night. So if you're looking for that touchdown dependent play, Kyle Rudolph's going to pretty much have that role by himself. So that could be an option there. I don't mind him. In deeper formats, you're not going to go out and start him over, top 12 guys by any means. But, he's going to be getting, a lot of those routes run. I don't think they're going to be putting in. I don't even know who their third tight end is. I usually know this, but I actually don't here. So maybe I just don't care enough. It's the Vikings. I'm a Packer fan. What do you want me to do?
Yeah. So just because we happen to talk about that game, the Bears have just activated Lamar Miller, or they plan to activate Lamar Miller from their practice squad. So who the hell is going to be in place of David Montgomery, he's not on this list. David Montgomery is officially out with a concussion. And so your guess is as good as ours. I'm not playing anybody in that backfield, but
so you're not playing Cordell Patterson
or Ryan Nall or Lamar Miller.
I want no part of that.
Yeah.
That's flip a coin, roll a 12-sided die, do whatever you got to do. But yeah, it's tough. It's tough to even begin to prognosticate what's going to happen in that game, especially with that backfield, with those options. No thanks.
Let's jump to this question real quick since it's that game. I would not start Gio over Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I would keep Robinson in.
Yeah,
I think
completely.
That's lock that in. And then we have some more questionable tags here. Golden Tate with a knee. Inactive should be coming out any time now here. So we'll get some
came out. He is active.
Golden Tate, all right. And then Robert Tonyan and Alan Lazard. Lazard is going to be out. So I do know that. But Tonyan, I had Gary. You have him up there?
Yeah, he's active.
Tonyan is
Chubb's active. Hawkinson's active. Tunyan's active. Tate's active. Alshon is active, and Dustin Hopkins for anyone that cares. Really, there's no notable outs except for on the defense. Kevin King and Jair are both out.
That's tough. If there's one game where that is kind of the backs, that's not going to matter as much. I mean, thank God it's this game for Green Bay.
Yeah, completely.
I mean, that's just dodging a bullet right there, honestly. Hawkinson, that was one I was worried about. With the Tokusek just came up randomly on a Thursday, where he was just fine practicing, and then that popped up. I think he was out on Thursday and then practice limited on Friday, if I believe. So we had some concern there with TJ Hawkinson, but he is active and should be fine there.
He's been really good. I didn't realize how good he's been. He's just been really steady.
He's been like Austin Hooper had, just consistent last year, and that's what Hawkinson's been. He hasn't had a boom week. He's had touchdowns, but he hasn't had just that blow up week.
Arizona Cardinals game.
Yeah, but he's just good. I mean, we're starting to see a little bit of that changing on the guard outside of in that top 5, 6. Ertz might be out of there for 2021, and we might be throwing in guys like, Engram's going to be there. He was there this year, but like Hawkinson, depending
Cooper.
on what happens with, it's
totally.
It's
I completely agree.
Could see Kyle Pitts in there too for next year for the Florida tight end. So
we'll see. I hold off on rookie tight ends. Hawk in his second year makes sense. Second year tight ends is always what I go for. So
Pitts is another animal, man.
Yeah, it's still, it just depends on the system. Anyway, for off-season conversations when we have nothing to talk about.
I know, right?
Should we get to Axel?
Yeah, let's get to Axel. Pull that bad boy up, or I got it. Kyle Juszczyk, Salvin Ahmed, Alfred Morris were running back 3 in PPR.
I want to know your answer. I have what I'm
Ahmed.
leaning. Yeah. Breeda's out. He's the only person that could potentially be the starter for their team.
Yep, I picked him up in quite a few leagues, actually, because I think, we saw these running backs can come out of nowhere. In Miami, Myles Gaskin, that was a guy that, we want to be right about these guys that, just come out of nowhere. Nobody really picked up Myles Gaskin to like week 2 or 3 after they saw, okay, well, yeah, he's going to get that. And I think that was pretty much advice that I gave too, because look what they brought in Jordan Howard. They traded for Matt Breida. I mean, it was tough to see those then make those moves and then go to Myles Gaskin, who they already had on the roster. So if this is going to be, could be a coincidence, but I think Salvin Ahmed looked pretty decent compared to the options. Clearly, they don't. They have no ties to Jordan Howard.
Yeah,
he was a healthy scratch for a bunch of weeks, so they're really activating him out of necessity right now. So
let me ask this of you then: 0.5 PPR, Dobbins, Balaj, or Ahmed for an RB2 spot.
Oh man,
it's tough, right?
Dobbins upside.
Yeah, that's how I have it right now. But
yeah,
I almost feel like Balaj has the upside, but then he's going against the Dolphins, and I'm nervous that they're just going to be like, no.
I want to call him the Bellagio every time I hear that, but then I realize it's tied to Kalen Ballage. So
the Bellagio,
the Bellagio UGH.
Yeah,
it's about how I feel. Appreciate you, Arctic, my friend. Thank you so much for asking those questions. And like I said, if you guys have questions, send them on over at KTompkinsII, at GaryHad1. We will answer them live on air or on Twitter.com. I have some more questions, Gary, if you're ready.
Yeah, I love Twitter.com. Let's go for it.
Yes, Twitter.com. Don't get that twisted. Christian Kirk or Brandon Ayuk PPR?
Christian Kirk, man. I feel like we're going to regret this. I have Christian Kirk in so many lineups.
Yeah, it's Christian Kirk for me. I'm looking at my rankings now. I have Ayuk over him, but just gut feeling. I think Christian Kirk is in that offense, in that game, in that environment. I think that's going to be it's going to set up so well for the for the Arizona passing game.
Totally.
Packers D or Steelers D today?
Steelers D. Steelers D is going to smash.
Packers aren't? Backup quarterback in the wind, not going to have to pass.
But like Packers defense should have smashed in other games and got their asses kicked. Like Packers defense is not a good defense. It is their Achilles heel right now.
Yeah.
Steelers defense is awesome.
The only thing I'm worried about is them stopping the run. With James Robinson in that wind. But I do think we see something out of the Packers defense today. And I'm not saying this as a homer because, full disclosure, I'm a Packers fan. But I think Jake Luton, I think we saw him go against Houston's defense last week. And I could pass for 300 on Houston's D. Let's be honest. Full disclosure, I got a rocket arm. But I just don't think that Jake Luton against this defense that I don't think lightning strikes twice. I think at home in a weird environment for the passing game, I think that Green Bay is going to be able to put a little bit of the clamps on James Robinson, and then even some of the passing game that comes with Luton, I don't think it's going to be even with the top 2 corners out. I think Green Bay is going to do enough to kind of keep them under wraps today.
But we're not talking about the Packers in a vacuum. We're talking about the Packers against probably the second best defense in the NFL, with the Ravens being number 1. And then the Steelers are probably number 2. They had didn't they have 2 pick sixes last week against Lamar? Like I'm trusting in the fact that they are going to sack the hell out of Burrow, and they'll probably get a couple interceptions because Burrow throws them. He's a rookie. That's normal. I'm comfortable with the fact that they are going to pass, and that it's difficult for a defense to rack up points when you're going against a good running back, and he's the focal point. You don't get the sacks, you don't get the turnovers.
I think Burrow's smart enough to know what he has coming at him, and he's got the weapons to certainly take advantage of that there. Because say what you want about the Pittsburgh corners, but I mean they're an average unit. I would take Tyler Boyd in the slot. I would take T. Higgins, AJ Green. I would take those weapons. If he can get the ball out, if he does a 3-step drop and throw, he can neutralize at least the Pittsburgh pressure a little bit. Burrow, I think garbage time is going to be a lot of that too, because I think they could put up, even if they get down, I think he can weather some of that, in garbage time.
So after all of this, are you taking the Steelers or the Packers defense? Because I think that you just said all that stuff and you're still leading Steelers.
I have Green Bay at 3. I have Steelers at 4.
Who's your 2? Bucks?
Baltimore.
Oh, okay.
At New England.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right, flip a coin. Whoever asked that question. Let's jump into these. Pick 2: Goff, Newton, or Daniel Jones. I'm gonna go with Goff and Jones. I don't trust Newton at all.
Yeah, I don't trust Cam at all. Jacoby Myers has been a great story. Going up against Baltimore, no thanks. Jared Goff, Daniel Jones, lock it in.
Yep.
Here we go. Oh, we get the deep cut of the week here. Chad Beebe, Gunnar, the chef, Olszewski, Lynn Bowden Jr. for wide receiver 4.
I'm probably going to go with the chef. I don't know if Chad Beebe as wide receiver 4 for the Vikings is going to move the needle.
Are any of these guys moving the needle, though, be honest?
Chef is he got touches.
We just need a little bit of needle movement to make this.
Yeah. It's a low bar.
Give me Chad Beebe. Give me the Beebs.
The Beebs.
The Beebs. I mean, every single week I see him make like a couple random catches. I mean, that's more I can say for the chef. More I can say for Bowden, who might not even get any snaps today.
Yeah.
So go with the Beebe. Not falling for the Packers defense. Don't get me right. I get it. And Gary is in our chat trying to drum home that narrative against me. Stone Flint, PPR, Claypool, Boyd, Godwin, need 2.
Boyd for sure, right? We're 100% on that.
Yeah.
Godwin doesn't have an injury designation, so I feel like you have to go with him, but I want to play Claypool. You have to go Godwin, I think, just because of the name value. You'll be pissed if Godwin goes off, but 100% Boyd.
You drafted him in the second or third, at the beginning of the third. I mean, you got to get some return on investment there. Granted, Claypool's been pretty solid. I like him over any of the Buccaneers receivers going forward if he's healthy. Give me Boyd and Godwin out of those 2.
Yeah.
Man, that's if you had just a stack wide receiver core and then he picked up Claypool in like whatever week it was, 5 or 6.
Yep.
Whew. All right, our kicker question of the week from our good friend Axel Jansen. Robbie Gold, Zane Gonzalez, Kai Forbath for kicker 2. Gotta be Zane.
Yeah, Zane.
Although it's I just say that just on the game environment. I mean, the Cardinals do get. I don't have the stats on this, but I'd have to take a look at their third down conversion and how often they stall on the other side of the field. I'm going to look at that this week.
Would you start Chubb and Hunt in a GPP lineup?
Both together?
Mm-hmm. They're the worst rushing defense. I mean, they're one of the worst, at least.
I think you start one or the other, and I would start Chubb.
I was thinking that, like, with the weather, it might just funnel through. We've seen it happen before, where they just put up like 200 to 300 rushing yards, and then Hunt gets 2 or 3 touchdowns, but Chubb gets like 150 yards.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
Not only that, but it's a lot of salary to put on both.
That's true.
So I think that's salary you can better allocate somewhere else versus nailing one part of not only that, but one backfield. Not even like a running back or a receiver in a high,
Yeah.
highly projected game. You're talking about nailing one backfield in totality, which I think you can really only do if you're just so dead set like on I don't know. God, I don't even know what to say. I would say like
No, you're
Baltimore like
right.
last year. Like if you wanted to play like Ingram and then like Gus Edwards in your flex at like last year, like that I would understand because, Gus Edwards in garbage time, sure. I just don't know if Chubb and Hunt is really using your
No,
money
it makes
wisely.
sense. I have 25 GPP lineups, so I'm just trying to diversify my thinking. But I agree. I just moved out Hunt for Robinson.
Diversify. Look at you. You sound like you're working for Charles Schwab over here.
I'm trying, man. Got to get paid.
Yeah. So we didn't answer this.
Yeah, we said Zane.
Oh, were you both in on Zane? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I
'cause I was
don't care, and he's inside,
Well, yeah. Well,
right? He plays for the Cardinals, right?
he sure does. I'm just okay. I had to make sure that game wasn't in New Orleans, but it's not.
You mean in Buffalo, but yeah.
No, I'm talking about for gold.
Oh, yeah, I just don't trust them to move the ball enough.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. So I had some more questions if you're ready for them here.
But real quick, if anyone's listening, Tremaine Pope looks like he's supposed to play. Matt Breida is out. Jerry Jeudy looks like he's supposed to play. Kenyon Drake's a game time decision. Watch that, but I'm not thinking too much is going to happen there. Mark Ingram should be playing. Damian Harris should be playing. N'Keal Harry, no one should be playing.
Yeah, right there. Absolutely.
Just wanted to get through those so we could do some other stuff.
Boom, there you go. Cooper Kupp or Terry McLaurin? I'm asking you. You already know my answer.
God, they're so close to each other. McLaurin just because he's safer, but they're both going to be
safe.
I would love if they were both top 5. That would make me very wealthy and rich and happy.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I gotta take down a few of these guys here, like Chark and Adams, and yeah, I gotta do that when we hop off of here in about 10 minutes. Let's see here. Pick one: Chase Edmonds, Mike Davis, Gio Bernard.
Davis, then Edmonds. If Drake is out, then Gio. That's tough.
It is tough. We got a couple. We got one more here for you: Drew Lock or Jared Goff for QB2.
Goff. I mean, I do think that Lock is going to have a good week, but
they both have good matchups. I mean, you're talking Goff, with Seattle, and then Lock with Vegas. So, yeah, you got to go with Goff. I think there's just a way more baked-in floor here against Seattle.
Yeah.
So, I think that's gonna be your shootout of the week. I mean,
I don't know if it's a shootout of the week. I think that's Buffalo and Arizona. But I got 3 questions here from the Fighting Chance family.
Let's go.
Pick one, PPR, Swift, Shepard, or Jacoby.
Taking Jacoby out of there right now.
Yep.
Swift or Shepard, Sterling Shepard.
Yeah.
Jeez.
That's a Swift.
Man. Yeah.
I'm leaning Swift. Sorry.
I'd probably go with Shepard here, honestly.
Ooh.
Just a feeling.
You don't think he's going to get the Slay treatment?
No, I think still Slayton's going to get some of that. Shepard gets moved around more than Slayton does, so I think he avoids Slay for the most part.
Okay. And then Tyler Boyd or Mike Evans, the opponent has Brady.
You got to play Evans, and that's not even with. I would say that regardless of if you had Brady or not.
I say Boyd. I want the safety of Boyd. I don't want all these targets to get funneled to AB and to Godwin. Excuse me. Sorry about the coughing, guys. I say Boyd. Kevin incorrectly says Evans.
Wow. You see what I have to deal with, everybody?
I know, man. And Tess, stop overthinking this. Swift over Gallman and Balaj. Gallman's close, but I don't think he's close enough.
Yeah, Balaj isn't in the conversation. Gallman, yeah, he's an okay play, but yeah, he's Swift there.
I like Gallman in GPPs. He's 4,500. I like him in a few spots.
I just don't care for anybody going up against that Eagles defense now that the Eagles can actually score. It's gonna help out that defense.
Dude, Gallman he's been double digits 3 straight weeks. He seems to be, he's not matchup proof, but he's like that lower tier of matchup proof. You know what I mean? It's not like he's elite. He just gets enough work. I mean, he's a poor man's Geo.
That's pretty poor.
Right?
I mean,
he's Geo without the mustache.
All right. You know what? Let me pull up where's Gallman here? I can't even find Gallman because he's so far down there. Where is he?
Well, that's incorrect. Like, he should be a top 30 play. Look what he did just even against the Eagles last time, if I'm saying that correctly.
Let me take a look here. These. All right. Yeah. PP. I mean, that seems standard. All right. Last 3 weeks, 16.4, 13.2. Okay. Yeah. They're all I mean, a lot of them it's touchdown dependent, though. He's had touchdowns the last 3 games. 10, 12, 14, 3.4 per carry, 3.7, got some yards. That's against Philly, Tampa, and Washington. If he can pull off 40 and a touchdown, I think you're happy with it.
I don't have a single Gallman in here.
I do in
out of
Dynasty.
my 25.
I do in, like almost every Dynasty because he was nothing, and just like Mike Davis was.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, he got 5 targets last time against Philly in week 7. So, but then he got 1 and 2. So you're not really banking on targets, but yeah, if he can get 40 to 50 and a touchdown, you're happy with it. I mean, but yeah, he's not gonna. He ain't gonna pull off a 20 carry, 120 yard, 2 touchdown game. That's not happening.
No,
as he does that this week, and then I eat crow. All right, so I got to move Wayne Gallman up in my rankings, I guess, because I have him at 57. Whoops.
Now I got to put more Packers in my DST.
I'm transparent here. I will say that. I believe. You know what? I believe I had Devontae Freeman until he went on IR. I think that's what that was. So I'll have to take a look at that here. More questions here. Curtis Samuel or AJ Green?
Curtis Samuel or AJ Green? I love Curtis Samuel this week. I'm like way too high on him, actually.
Yeah, I mean, Samuel's been a focal point of that offense.
Yeah.
AJ Green, tough to really know what you can expect out of him week to week, though they have used him a little bit. But I think you got to go ride the hot hand in Curtis Samuel.
Yep.
Here's one for you: Josh Reynolds or John Brown? I mean, as much as I want to go Josh Reynolds, I think you got to.
I think you got to go John Brown. Yeah.
In that revenge game.
Yes.
The John Brown revenge game. Let's see here. I won't ask that because we don't. Kalen Ballage or Wayne Gallman? It's Gallman.
It's Gallman, yeah, just because you don't know what Ballage's role is.
Yep. Jacoby Myers or Melvin Gordon?
Melvin Gordon. I feel like people are sleeping on him. His numbers were really bad last week, but he's good, and it's Gordon for me as long as Judy plays, but I don't think Judy's sitting.
This is Gordon. This is Lindsay.
Why?
It's working. Lindsay's looked a lot better and done a lot more of his touches from an efficiency standpoint than Gordon has. Gordon is touchdown dependent. Gordon has receiving upside too, but
maybe. Yeah.
Gordon just looks like a plotter, man.
I mean, his career average of what I always think is like 2.9 yards per carry, but it's higher than that. But he's always looked like that.
He's Kalen Bellagio, the contract.
Yeah.
No, he's not quite that. We'll get out of here with one more question from Axel Jansen, though. Hollywood, Henry Ruggs or Darnell Mooney for wide receiver 3 in PPR?
I'm going to do something different than I normally would. Going Henry Ruggs.
I get it. If there's going to be, we talk about this how many times? Oh, this could be a spot for Henry Ruggs. This could be a spot for Hollywood Brown.
Well, that's just you saying that, but yeah.
Yeah, it is me saying that because I'm still a believer. But, geez, I mean,
and yet you do love your Darnell.
Yeah, this one tugs at the old heartstrings a little bit here. Yeah, I want to go with 1 week, man, and he's going to be played in like 5% of lineups, and Hollywood Brown's going to go off.
Hollywood is probably my lowest of these 3. I like Mooney because he's going up against the Vikings, and they, in theory, the what's his name, Nagy, has just given up play calling to Laser, the Laser, best name in football, or at least from a coaching perspective. And so, I don't know, flip a coin between Ruggs and Mooney. Mooney is going to be a safer floor. Ruggs is going to be a higher boom.
You know what? Give me Hollywood. I have a feeling. I know. It's tough. It's wide receiver 3. It's tough. If you want upside, there you go. I have one more from Twitter, and then we'll get out of here if that's okay.
Yeah.
Jeremy Wayne _ Tua versus the Chargers, or actually, it's a 2-part. Tua or Wentz. Tua against the Chargers, Wentz against the Giants. I'm going Wentz here. No.
Yep.
Okay. And then T. Higgins at Pittsburgh or Chris Godwin at Carolina, half PPR.
Godwin.
Yeah, I think Godwin's pretty safe there. So, yeah, we're at the hour mark. It is 11:05, so go set your lineups. Again, thank you so much for sending your questions on over to us, and you can keep sending them to us at KTompkinsII, at Gary Hedda 1. We are going to log off of here, but send them on over on Twitter. We will answer them as well. Good luck with your Week 10s. Don't let the wind get you, because
don't get blown away.
Yeah, if you're in that Rust Belt, good luck. But we're going to get out of here. Anything else, Gary?
Nope. I just remember, if you guys get blown into Oz, follow the yellow brick road.
Oh, my God. Now you guys see what I have to deal with every
We'll be the wizards behind the curtain.
Twice a week. Twice a week, man. All right.
It's so windy here. It's in Texas. I'm so far away from these places, and it is really windy here.
Yeah, it's windy here. We've got the same thing as pretty much Green Bay does. I mean, it's
the winds of change coming. The winds of change, Kevin.
It is. That's a good episode of Game of Thrones, by the way, too. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Again, send those questions on over to us at KTompkinsII, at Gary Hedda 1. Good luck with your Week 10, and don't get blown away.
See ya. I love to hear so too, Tessa.